But just understanding Jalen's archetype, a guy who's been pretty much given the green light to just shoot and dunk since he's been a teenager, and him having his first 2 years in the league, just playing that freestyle ball, it just adds on to that false sense of security. And that's what a lot of the AAU culture has kind of festered among players. We see it play out even within the veterans in the league, but even the great legend Kobe Bryant spoke on this. And that culture around AAU is one of the reasons why he started the Mamba camp.
Kobe, you've been pretty critical of the AAU system and the way American players are brought up.
Not pretty critical, I'm extremely critical. I hate it. Because it doesn't teach our players how to play the right way. How to think the game, how to play in combinations of threes. And I think everything is it's a reward system. I think coaches who are teaching the game are getting rewarded one fashion or another. And it's just a showcase.
Do you feel like
it's absolutely horrible for the game.
The young guys that are coming up, do you feel like the game is kind of stiff, whereas when your guys were more skilled?
Yeah, but I think that was just by luck in the generation that I grew up in. You know what I mean? Because like my generation is when the AAU basketball really started becoming shit. And I got lucky because I grew up in Europe.
Right.
Everything there was still fundamental, so I learned all the basics. And I think we're doing a tremendous disservice to our young basketball players right now. That's something that definitely needs to be fixed, and it's going to be one of the things that I definitely focus on.
Now, Kobe said when he was coming up, that's when AAU basketball just started becoming shit. And fortunate for Kobe, he grew up in Europe until the age of 14. So the system out there has players working on their game for months at a time. And then they might play one game. And then they'll go back and work on their passing for a few weeks. Then work on their post-ups. And then work on their shooting. They may work on certain skill sets for a whole month and then have another game a month later. But guys like LeBron James was when that AAU culture started to get heightened due to his high profile out of high school. And just the media landscape overall at the time when cable TV and internet began expanding more and more. So the media landscape got bigger and bigger. But Stan Van Gundy spoke on this at a coaching clinic, which took place around the same time LeBron James just left the AAU circuit and got into the NBA. And judging from the Miami Heat shirt Stan Van Gundy's wearing, I would say this took place anywhere from 2004 to 2006. You guys check it out.
You're important in a lot of ways. First of all, from a basketball sense, for just their skill development and stuff, that's going to start at a very young age and is going to be determined at a very young age. And quite frankly, if you look around, we're failing pretty badly in this country as a whole in teaching people basketball skills. And you all notice it that watch the NBA, because there's a huge difference in just the skill level of the players coming from Europe and what we have here in terms of their ability to pass the ball and shoot the ball. We can't even produce enough people who can do those things here that we got to go across and try to find people who can do them. We're not developing skills here. One of the reasons is, we are much more interested in playing games and winning and losing at a young age than we are in skill development. So I would say this to all of the youth coaches here, even more than the high school coaches, is you have to make a decision if you want to teach the kids that you're coaching how to play basketball, or if you just want to win games, because there's a big difference. I last spring coached both my 12-year-old daughter and my 9-year-old son for 2 months in a YMCA league and had a group of kids. And I got to see every approach, And I would say to you, of the probably 18 teams that I saw just in that limited time, there were maybe 2 or 3 coaches that were really trying to teach skills, and everybody else was just trying to win a game. Leave your best players on the court as long as you can. Play zone defense, for God's sakes. It was beyond me. In a 9-year-old league, play zone defense, for the entire game. Obviously, don't ever let your biggest kids dribble the ball. Make sure they always give it to a guard who is usually your son, And so they can run up the court. And then you wonder why at the high school level we got so many kids who can't play, and we never have a 6'5", 6'6", 6'8" kid who can dribble, pass, and shoot, because at the young age, you tell him to go stand under the basket, and get the rebound and give it to somebody else. So the first thing I would say to you, you have a decision to make. Do you want to help build basketball players, or do you want to just tell everybody you won your youth league?
And that was Stan complaining. As we all know, Stan loves to bark. But that was him complaining in an era before social media, before Twitter blew up, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It was bad back then. And just going to his point with the coaches playing zone defense, that shows you how lazy they are, because most kids at that time, they're not strong enough to go through 2 defenders. So it shows you the laziness in the coaches. But again, I'm just putting into proper perspective on the way Jalen Green came up and a lot of the false reassurances he got coming up as a preteen to teenager to him getting all the way up into the league, which by the time the NBA grabbed him up and had him play for the G League Ignite, it was already too late. It's hard to break all those habits that he had from a youth. He would have been better off had they grabbed him and gave him a more balanced approach from a young age up. But with all these trade rumors surrounding Jalen Green, the Houston Rockets fan base should be proud of their franchise, because a lot of other NBA teams, sometimes they cannot get past the fact that a guy's putting up decent numbers as far as scoring, but it's not at an efficient clip. And they just stay stuck on how they can market him to sell tickets to fans. Meanwhile, he's hurting the team. So kudos to the Houston Rockets for implementing a new culture, and it actually involves around winning. And there's really nothing wrong with Jalen Green, as he's a young player still developing. But this is a very rare occurrence where you see a franchise that goes from playing freestyle ball and rebuilding, and now just like that, they're all of a sudden in a better position to actually compete, while at the same time the conference that they play in has veteran teams that are aging out. So it is what it is. The Rockets are in a very good position. They got a lot of chefs in the kitchen though. They're probably gonna have to bundle a few guys, do almost like a 2-for-1, and perhaps give guys like Whitmore more space to operate in. Maybe get a 2-way guard who can defend and shoot. And with the coach they have, they should have success going forward. But the Rockets fan base should be proud, because the other side of this coin could be them ending up like the Chicago Bulls. That's all I have for today. Until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.